Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting of the Wellington Shire for the 20th of August 2024. Members of the public gallery should note that Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our deep respects to their elders, past, present and future, and acknowledge their ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to their land and waters. Before I start, I just want to make sure that Councillor Stevens, who is online, can see and hear me.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yes, I can hear you and I can see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. We have one apology for today, which is Councillor Marr. Is there any declarations of conflicts of interest? No? Item 3.1, adoption of minutes of the previous council meeting. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the Ordinary Council meeting of Tuesday, the 6th of August 2024.
And second by Councillor Rossetti, by a whisker over Councillor Crosley. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Wood?
Thank you, Mayor.
Item 4, business arising from previous meetings. There are none. Item 5, acceptance of late or urgent items of none. Item 6, notices of motion. We have someone to move that, please. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council affirms its commitment to supporting renewable energy initiatives, particularly investment in offshore wind projects in the identified Bass Strait offshore wind area, with 25 gigawatts of generation under investigation in the Gippsland offshore wind declared area. Gippsland has an opportunity to facilitate large-scale sustainable production energy generation for all Victorians, and the opportunity is in front of us now, not in 15 to 20 years in the future. 2, that Council continues to advocate for state and federal support for offshore wind projects through policy initiatives and funding mechanisms, including A, that the Mayor write to state and federal government ministers Bowen and D'Ambrosio that the Wellington Shire Council wishes to reaffirm its positive position on renewable energy investment in Gippsland, and B, that the Mayor write to the federal and state government, federal Gippsland elected representatives requesting their support for the renewable energy sector and that has the potential to support thousands of jobs in Gippsland and across the supply chain. 3, that Council collaborates with industry stakeholders, community groups and educational institutions to promote the opportunities within renewable energy in our region. And 4, that Council continues to advocate to state government for the timely delivery of an overall transmission plan for Gippsland that responds to both offshore wind and onshore renewable energy investment, and that the plan be developed in consultation with the community.
And seconded by?
I'll second it.
Councillor Mackenzie. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Crosley.
There we go. In between the shakes. Thank you, councillors. Wellington Shire has taken leadership in supporting renewable energy across Gippsland. We have hosted the first 2 Gippsland New Energy conferences in 2022 and 23, and are a host pastor for the Latrobe, with the Latrobe City for the 2024 Gippsland New Energy Conference, which is going to be next month on the 3rd and the 5th of September, and is Australia's leading and most significant regional conference on renewable energy. Council always has taken a positive position and made in June 2023 posted and adopted a position statement on renewable energy. The renewable energy commitment was consistent with the Council plan, and the Council supported renewable energy investment and transition in the Wellington Shire. Wellington Shire Council already recognises the need for the transitioning to sustainable energy sources to mitigate climate change, reduce carbon emissions, and ultimately reduce emergency situations via climate impacts such as fire, flood, storm, and events that have severely impacted our community over the recent years. The offshore wind investments and the energy presents a significant opportunity for renewable energy generation, harnessing Australia's vast coastal resources and contributing to significant investment in Gippsland and providing opportunity for locals and job creation in our region. The environmental and economic benefits. Investment in offshore wind aligns with our commitment to environmental stewardship and provides economic benefit through local jobs creation and investment opportunity. It has been highlighted in the Wellington Renewable Energy Impact and Readiness Study, the culminating scale of impact of the planned renewables will be more than 40 billion across Gippsland. Council seeks to unlock the economic potential of renewable energy investment and will advocate for and support employment and procurement opportunities for the Wellington Shire community. Why now and why not nuclear energy? While acknowledging various perspectives on energy generation, with the lack of verifiable data from the federal opposition and including the position of the AEMO and CSIRO, nuclear energy is not a suitable investment for our community at this time. This is due to the concerns over social licence, safety, waste management, cost, timeliness, and the potential environmental impact. According to AEMO and CSIRO, nuclear generation is significantly more expensive, and the lengthy design and construction time means it will be too slow to effectively replace retiring coal-fired power plants and meet our international
Point
obligations.
of order, Mayor. This is not relevant to the motion. None of this material was contained in the motion.
Councillor Crossley, could you please adjust to what the motion says?
Yes, okay. In conclusion, that there has been raised that it's important to reaffirm our support of renewable investment, and I believe that the supporting renewable energy of offshore wind investment, we can achieve our sustainable goals while safeguard our community environment. And I thank the council colleagues for the support of the motion to demonstrate our commitment to a clean energy of future and for the investment of our region.
Thank you, Councillor Crossley, and we'll get those letters out as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Item 7.1, outstanding petitions. We have none. Item 8, invite addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Do we have any?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead,
Councillor
Councillor Stevens.
Yes, so I would just like to note and acknowledge the opening of the extension to the Yarram Childcare Centre, which took place on Friday, the 16th of August. I was there along with my councillor colleagues, Councillor Mackenzie and Councillor Ripper, and it was a great afternoon. The new facility is excellent. It is being used for the kindergarten space at Yarram, which frees up the whole of the existing childcare facility for childcare. I'm not exactly sure. I can't recall whether there were 62 or 66 new places created, but it's a wonderful facility. It was created with mostly a building blocks grant from the state government of over $2 million, and together with the Shire and the childcare committee, this facility is now being well used. And I thank Council for its support for getting this first building blocks grant. we will have other. There is another couple in progress, and yeah, it's a great addition to the infrastructure of Yarraman District, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Is there any other acknowledgements? Councillor Mackenzie.
Find the button.
It's on.
It's on. Good. Thank you, Mayor. Friday the 16th was a busy day in Yarram. Not only did we have the early learning opening, we also had the official opening of the missing link of the Great Southern Trail between Walshpool and Alberton. And it started really good because it started with a bike ride from Yarram Station through to Alberton, which would have been probably 20 plus bike riders. And it was a really nice gift that the Middle of Everywhere gave, with a nice bike to the winner of a raffle. When we got to the Alberton official opening, there would have been at least 50 people plus on the day. It was fantastic to see everybody come out and enjoy the event. And again, I had my colleagues, Councillor Ripper and Councillor Stevens, also supported by our CEO, Mr. Morecambe. And we also had our build environment, Mr. Hasty there as well, which was fantastic. Andrew Pomeroy from the development team, and I'd like to say a huge thank you to his team on the Middle of Everywhere. It was a great promotion for our region and our shire. To Chris and his team, congratulations on a co-build, which was done with the South Gippsland Council, and it looks fantastic. And the stories we already heard about bike rides and horse rides, etc., is just going to make it so good for our area. And we also had John Schelling there representing the South Gippsland Shire Council. So again, all I can say on behalf of Council that it was a great job. Thank you to the state government for their $6.5 million investment in now having the second longest rail trail in Australia that goes all the way from Nyora right through to Alberton. Again, thanks for the team. Please pass on my thanks to the team. Thanks to the CEO for being the MC on the day, and thanks to my fellow colleagues for being there as well. It was a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. And it's ironical that I was actually out at Mum's doing her garden, and a lady popped across the road. It was Nellie Coomber, who actually won the bike down there. And she especially made a beeline to me to say, thank you for the event. It was a great event. She took a bike down there and she won the bike as well. So she was very chuffed, and she's going to give that to one of her grandkids. So she's very, very happy. Is there any other addresses, presentations or acknowledgements? No? Well, I'll have a couple. Not this weekend, gone the weekend before, we had the Middle of Everywhere car rally, and that's the third instalment of hosting a round of the Australian Rally Championships and also the Victorian Rally Championships. We had the ceremonial start with record number of rally cars that were entered down here at the Port of Sale. And it was a fantastic event on the Friday night, well attended again. Over the 2 days, as I say, record number of teams and a record number of people that actually went to view the event. We had over 7,000 spectators over the Saturday and Sunday for the event. And I must say, the Middle of Everywhere team, great job again by Council to have that event and make it a successful event. So well done, team. And also well done for the over 250 volunteers that we had to make sure that event was a success. Without the volunteers, these events cannot operate successfully and well. So well done to that 250 volunteers that actually did turn up. Congratulations to Harry Bates, who second year in a row did take out the championship. Great job. It did finish up at the Boysdale Hill Climb, which was such a great venue to have spectators to see what was actually on display. And it's great to showcase our little towns, our Boysdales, our Bryags, our Newries, our Cowas, and they all benefit from this event, and of course our home base that was actually at the Heyfield Rec Reserve. So a fantastic event. I announced on TV on the Sunday that we are having a Year 4 here as well, so it is coming back again, which is very exciting and such a great event to have. And I was a little bit chuffed on the Friday night. I ran into a team, they actually come and had a look last year but didn't race, but this year they did. He actually presented me with a hat on the Sunday. The team is no hear, no fear. Now you'd think, what is that? They are both severely impacted with hearing and they can't hear. And if you talk to the navigator, so it's Andrew Meyer and his navigator, the way they navigate is by hand in front of Andrew, the navigator. The fingers mean how many metres, so that's 300 metres, and then just start, you're going to do this, and that's how they do it. And amazing that Andrew's daughter does sign language. So when we had the debrief on the Friday night, she was doing sign language to make sure that the dad and the co-driver knew what was happening. And they are a serious team. They did have a new car. They raced in the Victorian Rally Championship on the Saturday, and they didn't push it, but they are coming back next year, and he guarantees me he'll finish in the top 10. So they are a serious team as well, but a very special team. It was also interesting, the Victorian Rally Championships don't race on the Sunday, but I was so disappointed that they weren't going to be there. So I mentioned to the Australian Rally Championship coordinators, it would have been great to see something like that team participate. And what do you think they did? They reached out to them and actually let them do the final stage at the hill climb, the only car that was allowed from the Victorian Rally Championships. And he reached out to me then and said, I want you at the end. And at the end, he presented me with his hat. And I thought that was very special, and they've now done a documentary on this team as well. They did the first lap with a ute following them with the film cameras out, and then do their proper lap when they'd finished filming. So it's a great event, the Middle of the Area Car Rally, but also special that we have someone that can compete in a car rally that is impaired as well, but a fantastic family. So well done to No Hear, No Fear, and our team for the Middle of Everywhere Car Rally. Also thought I'd mention I went to the Gippstar Awards recently, and oh my God, the amount of talented people that we have in Gippsland. Wow. It really opens your eye up to see what sort of people we have around this area. And they're all ages, and we did extremely well with talented sports people from Wellington. I'll give you a few examples. We had Cohen Wade in the tetrathlon that did very well. Corey Byes represented polo cross. Corey's at Denison. He went across to the World Championships in South Africa. They can't take their horses, so they've got 4 weeks to learn on a borrowed horse to then compete, and they come second in the world, that Australian team. So a fantastic effort. We had Zali Gallagher, surf lifesaving, beach sprint and flags. These are monthly winners. We had Ava Harrington, again in the tetrathlon. She come 21st in the World Laser Championship, so fantastic effort. Jess Jackson in the surf lifesaving, beach sprint and flags. We also had some great other people that finished second in the world. We had a particular chap that was amazing with his story. He wasn't from Wellington, but he swam the English Channel recently in 10 hours and 50 minutes. Andrew Crozier from Tarraville. So there are some very talented people. But I'd like to point out a couple of things that Wellington actually did very well in. We won the Gippstar Team of the Year. Very special. It was the Mafra Basketball Eagles under-14 boys squad. They actually took out the Division 1 country championships. There was some other teams that had won Division 1 country championships as well, but why they were singled out for the award is because they won it when they were under-12s, and they've won it again when they're under-14s. So they've won the Division 1 country champs for a little town is quite extraordinary, so well done on the Team of the Year. We also had the Gippstar Club of the Year. The Sale United Football Club won the Club of the Year as well, and that whole committee basically was there, and I invited them up onto the stage because I happened to present both of those awards, so it was very pleasing to see that we took those out. So the Gippsland United Football Club has won championship upon championship, team event upon team event this year, and well deserved. And then also there was a special Achiever of the Year award, and Dal Ahern, who is a member of the Wellington Hockey Club, won that award as well. So a great achievement by some special people in the Wellington Shire that have not only represented their sports very well, but also the team representation and individuals got special awards. So congratulations to everyone at the Gippstar Awards. You might have seen, it was actually held at the Morwell Bowling Club. And I'll just like to reach out to the club. You would have seen last night that they had a fire there, unfortunately, and a fair bit of the club is actually damaged. So hopefully they can get back on track and rebuild very quickly, because it's a great facility to hold something like this, and I'm sure they'll get back on their feet. Item 9, questions on notice. We have none. Item 10.1, Mayor and Councillors Report, July 2024. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Ripper.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move that the Mayor and Council report be noted.
And seconded by Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried.
Thanks, Mayor. There's 37 events that Mayor and the councillors attended, and I'll just pick out a couple. On the 2nd of July 2024, the Regional Forum in Canberra, the Mayor and Councillor Marr attended, and an official opening of the Stratford Rec Reserve Pavilion upgrade. The Mayor, Councillor Tatterson, myself and Councillor Mackenzie attended, and we had a citizenship ceremony here and on the 18th of July, and Mayor Bai officiated at that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. Item 11, Delegates Reports. I believe we have one. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a Delegates Report. I'll provide the minutes of the meeting to our General Manager, Chris Hastie, but a Delegates Report for the Seats Annual General Meeting and Gippsland Conference. So that was held last Thursday and Friday in Melbourne, at our Nakumbaluk building, and it was a very successful event. So Seats is a group of like councils from up and down the east coast between Bor and Wollongong, so all up and down the highway, and with issues around transport, particularly around transport with our road, rail and other infrastructure. So we were lucky enough to have the AGM, of which I'd been the chair for the last 2 years. So Seats traditionally have appointed a chairman for 2-year periods, which alternates between New South Wales and Victoria. And I've been privileged enough to be the chair of that for the last 2 years, and it's gone back to New South Wales for the next 2-year period. Unfortunately, New South Wales are in caretaker period at the moment, so we haven't actually appointed a chair for the time being until after council elections. But it was a very successful 2 days. I would like to thank Andrew Pomeroy, who did a very good introduction to Wellington for all the delegates that attended, and it was well appreciated. Chris Hastie was also in attendance, and so was Lachlan McDonald, who's from the Department of Transport, the Director of Department of Transport. Very senior government official who was down here, and he specifically spoke around some of the challenges in long-term planning on getting key projects up, and he spoke about the Sale to Relgan duplication and some of the issues and the timing that it's taken, but he also acknowledged that it has been achieved. So by doing it in a piecemeal thing, which has allowed our General Manager, Mr Hastie, to drive through roadworks for the last 15 years, we now have a duplicated highway. Whereas if we'd looked for a 50-kilometre highway duplication, it would have been on the national agenda and probably never been funded and never been started. So he did highlight that while it's great to get big projects up, if you can break them down into smaller projects, you will get them, or you're far more likely to get them delivered and see some of the incremental safety improvements. And at the end of the day, our community is a lot safer. So one of the other things he did talk about was the Princess Highway funding that's available at the moment, and the previous centre median barriers that have been installed between Sale and Bensdale. And since those median barriers have been installed, there's been no fatalities. So they've moved away from nearly a fatality every year, or more than a fatality every year in that section of road, to no fatalities since 2019 when those were completed. So he spoke about the benefits of planning and also the collegiate approach of Seats, where we're advocating around these transport-related issues. Some of the things with lower speed limits on the highway and the issues that causes for some of our products that coming out of our Gippsland and either going to New South Wales or going to Melbourne. It causes issues for our transport network. And he spoke about the importance of, in the future, hopefully getting some of those speed limits back up so that a truck driver can do a trip to Melbourne and back within a day, or that they can drive from Borbo to Melbourne and back in a day, in 2 trips a day, because the cost of not being able to do that gets passed on to the consumer. So it's really important to the community to have an efficient and effective road network. So it was a very successful meeting, and the delegates were amazed at the venue. It was great to take it away from an office and have it around the back of our Lake Guide, and you know, in such a natural setting right in the middle of town. They were really appreciative of the venue. So thanks to Chris and his team for organising the building.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. And from everyone at Council, well done on your 2 years of being chair. It's been a great committee that's pushed a lot of projects through for this region and further abroad. So well done on your commitment to that, and a great success. Thank you. Item 12.1, Chief Executive Office Report, July 2024. Someone to that. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Chief Executive Officer's report be received.
And seconded by? Oh, I think Councillor Ripper, by a whisker. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Wood. Thank you,
Mayor. Excuse me. The CEO attended the regional forum in Canberra, which Councillor Ripper's already mentioned, and they went to the General Assembly listening sessions with Mayor Bai and Councillor Marr. They also went to day 1 of the National General Assembly and day 2 as well. They met with the Miley Chief Executive Officer, Leanne Williams, in Sale, and as mentioned by previous speaker, the CEO hosted a citizenship ceremony in Sale. Also met with the MAFRA Vehicle Collection Committee, attended a local government Chief Executive Officers Group conference in Kiama in New South Wales, and met with Minister Kilkenny and D'Ambrosia. At Melbourne, in attendance was Mayor Bai and South Gippsland Shire Council Mayor Claire Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. Item 12.2, Council Performance Report. Someone to move that, please.
Yes, Mayor.
Councillor Stevens.
I'm happy to do that. That's me. Thank you. I'd like to move that the Council receive and note the June 2024 Council Performance Report as attached.
And seconded by Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Go ahead, Councillor Stevens.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this performance report is basically for the end of the 2023-24 financial year, which is currently subject to audit by the Vargo representative. Probably one of the main things to note that's affected the end of financial year was the fact that our Grants Commission grant money, which we have received before the end of the financial year in the last 3 or 4 or more years, wasn't received until early July. So, but that's had an impact on the surplus deficit bottom line for the last financial year. It's also worthwhile noting that we have a very strong balance sheet, and some 127 CapEx projects were completed in the financial year. There was $8 million worth of CapEx projects carried forward to the 24-25 year, and at this stage, we, as I mentioned, the audit's underway. We will have an expectation that the audit will be completed and then put back to council to be approved and completely finalised before the end of this council term. So I think nothing really adverse to report, and everything is on track. Thank you again to the finance staff for their hard work. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Item 13.1, Assembly of Council's Report. Someone to move that, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Ripper.
I'd like to move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Council records for the period 29 July to 11th of August 2024.
And seconded by Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Ribot.
No, nothing.
Happy with that?
Yes, happy with.
Item 13.2, Remuneration Committee Minutes. Someone to move that, please.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to move the Council note and receive the minutes from the Remuneration Committee meeting held on the 6th of August 2024 as attached, and 2, endorse the actions from the Remuneration Committee meeting held on the 6th of August 2024 as detailed in the attached minutes.
And seconded by Councillor Tatterson. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried.
Nothing further.
Nothing further? Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. Item 14.1, monthly planning decisions, June 2000 and I think it's supposed to be 24, but not 2,204. Does that say right? That's just in my summary, so it won't be on there. That's all right. So it's June 2024. My summary says a few more years in advance. No, I wouldn't have known unless I read this and went, oh, that's a bit far in front. Someone to move that. Councillor Tatterson.
Can I please move that that Council note the report on recent planning permit trends and planning application determinations between the 1st of June and the 30th of June 2024.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. And seconded by Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I note from the list of planning approvals, there's a breadth of our shire that's covered by these planning approvals. I congratulate the staff on 33 planning applications being provided, and please pass on my thanks to all staff.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Item 14.2, proposed sale part of Cobains Road sale. Someone to move that, please.
Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Rossetti.
I move that Council 1 resolve that the property described as proposed Lot 1, PS 905306F, Cobains Road sale, as shown on the plan within, is not required for council purposes. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to offer the land for sale to the Victorian School Building Authority at the current market value and execute necessary documents. 3, note the information contained in the confidential documents that attach 14.2.2 valuation report, proposed Lot 1, PS 905306F, Cobains Road sale and attachment 14.2.3 heads of agreement, the rest as read.
Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. And seconded by Councillor Crosley. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks, councillors. Back in 2018, when we were just organising all the GRSC buildings and works there, we realised that over the road was going to be a significant piece of land for the community. Given the size of the sports centre and grounds, it was nice to be able to have options for other things around it. We were envisaging originally perhaps more sporting facilities, perhaps more footy ovals, but we were thrilled when there were lots of options being mooted for the amalgamation of the schools, the old tech school site and the old high school site, when it was finally decided by the state government that they would like to use a fair chunk of that land. We had been through many different options and iterations with them, with other blocks of land that might have suited, but ultimately this block of land suited their needs. And so for us to be able to assist as a council, the state government to look to amalgamating those schools is a fantastic outcome. And to also have the schools and that whole community having access directly to the Gippsland Regional Sports Centre just activates that whole area. So it really is a win-win. So we're thrilled to be able to move this motion to give that necessary permission to progress that, and we'll look forward to ultimately a shovel going in there and the amalgamation of those two school sites. It'll be a terrific outcome.
It's a great outcome. Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. We look forward to the future with that one. It's quite exciting. Item 15.1, establish Trust for Nature Covenant on council property Neils Road in Tarraville. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to progress the registration of a Trust for Nature Covenant over the council land at Neils Road, Tarraville, a standard parcel identifier 21C /PP3557 for the purposes of conservation protection.
And seconded by? Don't all jump up. Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Crosley, I believe this is the first one we've had in my 8 years on council, so looking forward to what it is.
Yes, well, I'm happy to explain. In October 2022, the Wellington Shire Council was approached by the Trust for Nature, Victoria, regarding the parcel of land at Nielsen's Road for the proposed to establish of a protection covenant to protect the high environmental values of the land having been identified. Subsequent to that, the council assessed the land, the Natural Resource Coordinator, and recognised the land having very high environmental values. The Trust for Nature, for your edification, functions under the state government legislation, Victorian Conservation Trust Act 1972. This function assists protection of environmental values on private land in Victoria, and the purpose being that it involves placing a covenant on the title of the land which has the effect of permanently protecting the ecological value of the land from any possible negative land uses in perpetuity. And specifically on the Nielsen's Road site, the ecological significance is threefold. The vegetation on the block is of high ecological importance, and it contains two ecological vegetation classes, being coastal salt marsh and swamp scrub. Swamp scrub is classified as endangered species and area, and it's important that we protect that, and especially as it is adjacent to the Ramsar wetland, which we have international responsibility to preserve. And it also has a significant flora and fauna, and specifically we have visiting migratory birds, the curlew sandpiper and also the little red knot. Both were, as I'm a keen bird watcher, I have enjoyed seeing them when they visit down in those our coastal wetlands. And again, both of these migratory birds are part of our responsibility in protecting seasonally migrating birds from our far north, in the northern hemisphere, in fact. So, and in establishing the covenant on this land will strengthen the conservation efforts attained in the surrounding landscape and contribute to the broader landscape conservation efforts, and is in keeping with the Council's plan and aligns with the Council's commitment to environmental stewardship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Well explained. Item 15.2, Asphalt Program Urban Street Sale and Heyfield 24-25. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender contract 2025-004 evaluation report for the Asphalt Program Urban Streets Heyfield and Sale 2024-25 and 2 as written in the agenda.
And seconded by Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Before I go to Councillor Tatterson, I'd like to announce the successful tender as Cranes Asphalting and Bitumen Sealing Pty Limited. Congratulations, Cranes. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor, and I congratulate that contractor in receiving this this contract. Really important piece of work for Council to replace some of our urban streets with asphalt. I know in the past we have used stone seals, which in courts and urban areas, sometimes they're not as effective, and they're certainly aesthetically and for traffic and whatever, it's nowhere near as effective a surface. So the asphalt program is really well received by local residents when they get their street upgraded from having a stone seal to an asphalt seal. And I congratulate the contractor on winning this contract.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Item 15.3, Mill Street Reconstruction Works, Heyfield. Someone to move that.
Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Rossetti.
I move that Council 1 adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender contract 2025-005, evaluation report from Mill Street Reconstruction Works, Heyfield, and the rest is read.
And seconded by Councillor Ripper. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Before I go back to you, Councillor Rossetti, I'd like to also announce the successful tenderer as Gippsland Gas and Water Products Limited. Congratulations.
Yes. No, thank you, Mayor. And Mill Street, anyone who's driven down it knows it is at the end of its life. It's certainly beyond any sort of maintenance regime. So it's actually replacing the road, replacing the curb and channels. That's also beyond its life. And indeed putting in some footpaths where footpaths don't exist. So those people who use Mill Street or those people who live in it, I'm sure will appreciate the outcome once that's all done.
Most certainly. Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Item 15.4, Velore Road Reconstruction Works in Nambrok. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Rossetti.
I move that Council 1 adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender contract 2025-006, evaluation report for Velore Road Reconstruction Nambrok, and the rest is read.
And seconded by Councillor Ripper. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Before I go back to you, Councillor Rossetti, I'd like to announce the successful tender as Cranes Asphalting and Bitumen Sealing Products Limited. Congratulations.
Yes, and I'm never quite sure with Velore Road, or to quote Dean Martin, Velore Road. I think Velore Road is probably more Gippsland. I think Velore is a bit posh. But Velore Road, the people who live along there, a 3.7 odd kilometres stretch. Again, they'll appreciate that work getting it done will be a good outcome.
Be great. Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. We have no one in the gallery tonight. Mr. CEO, online.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we did receive online a question from Mr. Max Goddard just in relation to boat ramps and the usability of boat ramps in Locksport. Councillors are aware that we've had a number of ongoing issues with the sand movement and coastal erosion in Locksport. But both the Seagull Drive and Charlie Street boat ramps remain open. We've done some minor works there, but we'll continue to advocate to DECA to build some of those mitigations to prevent that sand moving down, but we'll continue to keep those boat ramps open. And we've we've sent a letter to Mr. Goddard in the last couple of days, and that's been circulated to all councillors.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. That's everything on the agenda, but we need to move into closed session.
I'm happy to move that, Mayor. I move that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to Section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider matters under Section 66(5)(b) as defined by Section 3(1), being F, personal information.
And seconded by Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried.